Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a discussion about Loki and um, just kind of like the way we can see things in relation to him in terms of relationships. I have a guest with me today. Um, why don't you go and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm you can call me Rin. That's a common nickname. Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I slept a lot today. I feel good. I've had coffee, so
Coffee is fantastic.
it is.
Now, are you a super sugary coffee person or a black coffee person?
I like a few drops of coffee with my sugar. I very much a sugary coffee person.
Yes, me too. But best of both worlds, caffeine and a crap ton of sugar.
Yes.
Hopefully, YouTube is not going to consider that a curse word. I don't know the limits, but hopefully they'll just ignore it. Okay. I have to remember not to use some of the language I typically use. Okay. All right. So, like I said earlier, we're going to do a little bit of a discussion about our individual relationships with Loki and how we each see them. So, Ren, what is that? I can't edit this. I can't edit this.
Okay.
I forgot your. Oh my gosh!
Leave it in.
All
The
right,
most Loki interview ever.
the chaos. Okay, okay. So, Ren, what's your relationship like with Loki?
So I have a very personable relationship with Loki. Um, Loki has been in my life since I have been able to be sentient. He is my father figure. He's the only father I've ever had, realistically. Um, so I work with him on a lot of levels. It's not just on a spiritual or a deity work level. He has not just guided me down that path, but it's been more of he's helped in mundane aspects too, like, oh no, my sink is leaking. I don't know how to fix this. Like randomly like videos will pop up and it's like a tutorial of walking you through and it's like, oh thanks, Loki. Um
Aw, that's absolutely adorable.
we're very close. Like even my children are very bonded to him. He's been a presence that's been around for a very long time. I'm very, very connected to him more so than anyone else I work with within my practice. I'm very confident to say that. Um, and even like with his own like children, I'm very bonded and close with them as well.
That's awesome. Do you see them as kind of like your if how do you that's something I didn't even consider. How do you see your relationship with like his kids? Because like if you see yourself as like his daughter, do you feel like a camaraderie with them?
Yes, especially Fenrir. He has a lot of Big Brother vibes, like very protective, very overbearing Big Brother. Very keep me on my toes energy.
That's awesome. Um, for me personally, um, so I probably should have gone through this at the very beginning. Again, very much a Lokian type interview. We're gonna just kind of go back and forth on relationships and like how we see each other. Did I cover this? I forget.
You're asking goldfish brain.
All right. Well, in case I haven't said it, we're going to just go back and forth. I don't remember what I said at the very beginning. Uh, this is truly How do Lukians do a video? All right, I'm gonna keep this in because it feels genuine. But what was I saying? Oh my god!
Uh, the style of the interview layout, what we're doing, the agenda.
Oh my gosh! Okay, right. All right. Okay, my relationship with Loki. Oh my gosh. Um, so I am a god spouse of him for about. We've had. It's been a year since our anniversary. We courted for about a year beforehand. He is one of the main deities I work with. He cannot be ignored. He speaks very
No.
loudly. Uh, I sometimes see him as a they them or a she her, depending on the day and the moment in the like. Honestly, sometimes the day it feels like sometimes during the day there's a very much a switchy vibe where it's like sometimes it'll start off with a he him and then go to she her and then back to he him all through the course of the day. So it's very fluid. Um, he did not start. I did not actually know him until the pandemic. Um, Mostly because in my own story, I wasn't very in touch with my Clairs until the early 2020 because I was kind of like just ignoring and repressing a whole bunch of stuff. Um, but he was one of the first deities who came through when I did a deity confirmation, and things progressed from there. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I kind of just jumped all over the place, but let's keep going. um,
Would it be
he
a real Loki based interview if we didn't jump all over the place? There's got to be some
yes,
scatteredness.
yes, that, and I feel like a good percentage of the people who he picks up has some form of ADHD or something like that. So
His little neurospicy army.
yes. um he is one of the primary people who helped me with overcoming perfectionism and like my stubbornness. He really tries to advocate for more consistency in opening up about about my emotions. He's very big on trying to increase play, which is one of the core things like he's known for, but he really emphasizes that and kind of just like being more genuine and things like that. um
Yeah.
uh Also taking interest in your personal hobbies and in your own joy. That's also one of his like big core things he's working on with me right now.
Yeah, he's
However,
big on do what makes you happy.
yeah, even if it's not like what's considered traditional or um I guess like I'm getting like the picture of like rigid with like in like traditional religion. He kind of decides to take all of that, crumples it up into a little ball and says, "You know what? I'm going to just throw that away and you do whatever you want." At least
Yeah,
in at least in my practice, he's like, "F the rules. Do what you want."
yeah, he is not one for social norms. In my experience, too, the weirder it is, the better it is. The more he seems to enjoy it. um, just be as strange as your heart desires you to be.
Yeah. And he's also like not stringent about like you have to do this ceremony this way and at this kind. I almost just got like a almost like a feeling of eye rolling in the back of my head, or like I just kind of almost got like a that's that's really boring feeling from him, or like I kind of got like a boring feeling like somewhere from someone. So that just felt like a little bit of a commentary. But getting back to things like that, he's not one for like proper stringent rules. Like that bores the heck out of him in my own
No,
personal experience.
he's really good with like helping you find ways to like low budget work too. Like say you can't have candles or you can't afford like herbs or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things he's taught me is if you don't have a specific herb that you want to use, take the herb's name and its properties, write it on a piece of paper and burn it with your intentions. Like same thing. You're good.
Ooh, that's cool. I never heard of that before.
I hadn't either. And then he told me that, and I was like, oh, well, we're going to do that then because your girl's poor.
That's brilliant. Oh my gosh. Um, so how did you learn about your relationship with him?
Um, well, when I was little, I would see this man come into my room at night and he would sing to me and tell me stories. And it was stories that when I grew up, like got older, started looking more into Norse mythology. He was actually telling me like stories. Um, and when I was that young, I had kind of a interesting home life. There wasn't really a lot of adults involved. So to me, this was like, oh, this must be my dad. Like this guy's my dad, and so that's I kind of bonded to him that way. And I have a really funny story about this. So before summer break started for school, we would always make our Father's Day cards to take home with us because it happens in June. School's not in the U.S. anyway. Um, so we were doing that. I was in maybe kindergarten, and I drew Loki a Father's Day card and told my teacher, like, "Yeah, this is for my real dad. That guy that comes to pick me up, that's not my dad. I don't
Oh
even know why he's here."
no! Oh my gosh.
Like my teacher had a bunch of questions, and she said something to my like biological father when he came to get me, and it caused like a whole thing between him and my mother. My parents actually ended up doing like a paternity test on me because I was like that serious about it. They were like, my dad was convinced my mom had an affair or something, and that she was sneaking a man into the house while he was at work. So I guess I was convincing with my stories of, hey, this guy comes and tells me stories every night. He's my real dad. Like, he's really cool. We play games together.
Oh no. Oh.
But as I got older, I started wondering if the energy around me was like an ancestor. I was probably like between the ages of 15 and 17 when I started really looking more into like the witchcraft or the occult aspect in life. So for a long time, I thought Loki's energy was my granddad because he was also very mischievous, chaotic, liked jokes, very prankster kind of thing. Uh, then I was really going through some like dark times,
Mm-hmm.
my older teenage years, and for the first time, I heard Loki tell me his name. And I had already been a little into Norse mythology at this point, was heading down the path of more Norse pagan than anything. So I started doing a lot more research, and then through learning divination, various forms, he was confirmed as my soul parent. Um, he was very open and honest about being like, hey, that guy that, made your parents do a paternity test, it's me. Hi. Hello, I'm the problem. It's me. Uh,
Yeah. So How did I? Um, for me, I started working with him in about 2021. I'm guessing because I don't have the greatest sense of time. I actually thought so I kind of went through deity work a little backwards. I started directly with mediumship and like spirit guides and kind of like looking into that aspect first. Um and kind of like working on that. And then I got a bonkers reading from one of the practice readers who claimed it was my dad's spirit. No, it wasn't him. Uh, the things that were said during that mediumship practice, my dad would not be doing that. It had his very much like his Loki-esque humor.
Yeah, that's a very Loki thing. I can see that. I can see that.
In terms of very 18 plus humor, suggestions on activities I should do, and just kind of like being wild. And so I got an official confirmation for like, like a deity confirmation. He was one of the first to step through, along with two others, and uh, we started off regular working. And then the energy sort of changed between us. Like it started like we would be doing shufflemancy and more flirty-ish type-ish music would start popping up. Uh and so eventually that started to happen. So it was like but like there's always like a confusing time of like what the is going on.
Yeah.
And eventually I got a reading and then it started going down that path of like God's spousal. But like at first I thought I was like, this can't be happening. Oh no, I must be going crazy. God's spousal is just all the rage on TikTok. That must be where I'm getting it. But something always just felt weird. And at the very like I tried to put him into a parental role. Yeah, he did not enjoy that at all. I kept on getting you gross no 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 energy. Like that's like a kind of like a that's cute, but no, that's not right. Nope. If kind of like a very tight like if like you feel like your like stomach tightens up, um it felt like that. If that makes sense. Where it's like, no, 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 no. Do not do that.
No,
And so what are you about to say?
I get you totally because that's like like a conversation we had not that long ago where I said something kind of off key to him, and he was like, "Oh no, 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 ma'am, no."
So he will tell you if when you're starting off with him, or eventually, he will make his intentions known of either through some of the jokes he makes to you, the type of energy you get around him. So yeah, and if he doesn't like something, you will know.
Oh yeah, you will definitely know. Loki is very, very much of like a hold my beer when he sees something that needs to be done.
Yeah,
Or you say something that he doesn't think is good or okay, like he's very quick to let you know.
yeah, and like you could always directly, for those who may be newer, you can always ask him, "Did you even like what I was saying?" And he will respond to that.
Yes, he's very, very honest.
Yeah. Um, up, 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 up. Um, how does Loki present to you in day to day life? Like, kind of like in terms of physicality, signs, synchronicities, all that jazz.
Um, I have a little bit of a unique experience. I always see him as a man. Um, I have seen him shapeshift a couple times. I've seen him as a warthog during meditation. Um, Spiders are a really big thing for me. Like last night, as I was laying down to get in bed, I decided I was going to stay up a little bit longer, watch a movie after he has really told me I need to fix my sleep schedule. And this tiniest, teeny tiny baby spider just like crawled across my hand. Like it was so small, I thought it was a piece of my hair touching me. It was a teeny tiny baby spider, and he's like, "No, ma'am, go to bed." Mm-mm. Um, he also really likes to affect electronics around me,
Mm-hmm.
specifically my Alexa. I have somewhat of a smart house thing going on, so like my thermostat, my lights, even my electronic door lock, you can control it all through the Alexa. Um, he will talk through it. He has said things Alexa should not even be saying. It's not even in her voice. Sometimes she'll just come on and say, "Okay," and turn off all the lights.
the thought
it's,
that
it's,
I
it's,
the thought that I just got in my head was like nighty night, bitch, douche.
yeah. Like the book narrated by Samuel L. Jackson's Go the F to Sleep. That's how he does me when it's bedtime. Another thing he does, my cousin likes to challenge any kind of anything spiritual. He's very and keep in mind we grew up in an Italian family, very much Roman Catholic. So there as much as he is a skeptic, there's superstition there. Like the paranoia is there, and it's embedded in him deep. Uh, so we were sitting here having dinner one night, and he decides he's going to challenge Loki because my youngest son was telling him how active Loki had been in our house that day and was just going on about it. And when he said, "Well, if he can really do all this, show me," I don't
Ugh.
believe it. He challenged him, and well, no sooner than he says that, like, lights go out, they start coming on and off, like, it's like something out of the Poltergeist movie happening in my house. And I'm just like, "Oh, well, that's what you get." And he still will not come in my house since that happened a few weeks ago. He won't come back.
See, I'm always surprised when people challenge him because he goes, okay, bet.
Yeah.
Because he will step up to the plate and go, you want poltergeist? Here it comes.
Like, let me meet all the expectations you have in your head real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, let me see. Let me make this. You know what? Like, in some ways, he is like an epitome of Beetlejuice because he's like, it's showtime. All right, you told me to do this. You asked for this. I'm only so happy to like please you. I'm just gonna live up to your expectations.
The ghost with the most.
He's like, what? You got my attention? Now, let's see what we can do with it.
Oh, my attention, and now you're scared?
Aww. Look at them run. Woohoo! This is gonna be fun. Da 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 da.
Like, it was to a point where this man took his plate of food and sat in his car, finished eating, and then he brought me my plate back, set it on my porch, knocked on the door, and then drove home.
Oh
He
my
would not come
gosh.
back inside.
No. Oh. Oh. Okay. Much like you, he will use spiders. He very much knows that I don't love spiders that much, so he'll use it very sparingly with me. I think it's because when I was very young, I had a bit of like arachnophobia uh in as a kid. Um like I would get these big wolf spiders in like our tent camps. Now, always take mundane over magic, but I swear it seemed to like just like crawl over to where I was. So, um but the biggest thing that I remember is growing up, we usually ended up with a fly problem in the house. And he is also known for showing flies. Um, I think he uses flies with me a little bit more because he knows I'm not as freaked out about them. Um, he also uses foxes for me. About now that I'm just like talking about it, I remember like a near the fall or like the spring, I was walking home from like my at the time job, and I see something very scraggly run across the yard, and I think, oh, it's a canine or something. Nope, that was a very shaggy looking fox, and I just had like a TikTok sound of he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and I took off because I don't really want to meet my local wildlife. But that moment felt very cemented in my memory. He usually appears to me as mostly a guy, but I have seen a she her version, or like it's still him, but again the genders can switch up. Uh one of my favorite things that he does sometimes is he'll come on in a Jessica Rabbit dress with like the bright red sequins and like the shoes and like dazzle.
It's like a shimmery red dress.
Yes. It's like Dorothy doesn't have anything on this.
And it's that TikTok trend. I've got my red dress on tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. You had plenty money back in 22. um I haven't seen him personally do as much with electronics, though. Don't get me wrong, I know he can do it because he has taken out my laptop once or twice with the blue screen of death.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's gone for the laptop before, and he, at one point, now this was a hard boundary that I had to set with him. He went for the Wi-Fi quite a bit as well, and I said, we have to. We can't be doing this one. So that was one of the first boundaries I had to set with him.
He goes
Because
for my Wi-Fi too. So I work from home, and if
yeah,
I get really overwhelmed or stressed at work, or if I've worked too many hours, like I put in a lot of overtime at my job, and if it gets to be too much where it's taking a physical toll on me, he will take out the whole internet as a whole. Like my neighbors will even be without internet.
I'm just gonna take yours, and I'm gonna take yours for good measure.
That way I can't go to my neighbor's house and hook my computer up and just work from her kitchen because I've done that before when my internet's went down. So he's like, nope, no internet for anybody. Go to bed. And now you can't stay up and watch TV because you have all streaming services. Go to bed.
Yeah, see, now he doesn't, with me, watch now he's going to because now I said he doesn't. Um, he doesn't usually enforce like bedtime with me. Like he doesn't do like that hard you bed now. Except for like maybe once or twice where I've meditated and someone on the team knocks me out. I still have yet to discover who it is, but I like wake up and I'm like, wait a minute, I was supposed to be meditating.
Yeah,
But
that's a thing that gets me a lot too. I don't sleep a lot. I have trouble sleeping at night, very much a night owl. But I work full time and I'm also a parent, so I don't get to sleep during the day. So usually I average between like 2 to 4 hours of sleep until it just like physically exhausts me and I have to have more. So he has really been on top of me for the last few years about, hey, I see you trying to be better about going to sleep, but let's be even more better about it. And that's something like him and another deity on my team are really, really strict on me with is my sleep schedule. Because I don't have a good one. It's almost non existent.
yeah,
So that's something that they're. And Loki usually is not strict with me at all. It's kind of like, do whatever you want to do. Do you feel like doing this today? We can do this today. Or if you don't feel like doing this, it's fine. We'll get back to it. But when it comes to rest, he's like, you've got too much health stuff going on. You rest. Get in bed right now.
yeah, that makes sense. I am going to retract my statement a little bit about him not getting on my case about resting because I just remembered a story with one of another reader friends that we have. He did a reading from Loki and he said, "Okay, you're not doing well. Uh, you need to rest, and if you don't, I'm going to bring Lady Sigyn into this, and you don't want me to do that. So you are now on a couple day tarot ban." And I was like, "Oh,
I remember that.
yeah, he did that." And I was just like, "Oh shoot." Uh,
Yeah, he will do that. He
yeah.
definitely will.
And he'll take advantage to the point where I know I can hear him when he says, "You need rest." And I'm probably going that heading towards that way because I'm having trouble sleeping. So I would not be surprised if that increases, just because of a couple of things that are going on. But that's neither here nor there. Um, um. So we've already talked about this, but besides the Alexa, can you think of any other way he typically interacts with you on a day-to-day basis?
Um, he's really good about giving me signs, whether it be in like something coming up that reminds me of something I really liked during childhood. He is really big about reminding me to keep my childlike wonder. Even though I didn't experience a normal childhood, he really pushes me to make time and play, whether it be through playing with my own kids or just going and sitting outside and picking flowers, going on a walk and playing Pokemon Go. He's very big on giving me little subtle signs that, just because you didn't have a childhood doesn't mean you weren't a child, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. He does really emphasize that.
Yeah, that's a big thing I have noticed, and it could be like a Furby popping up on my like a meme of a Furby popping up on my Facebook or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that unlocks something within me. Like oh my god, the Furbies of the 1990s and the 2000s. Oh, 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 this is a random tangent, but I had a Furby, and my Furby would not be quiet, and it was like this wizard Furby, and like it would not stop, and eventually got launched out the window.
So I had a Furby too. I had the little like cow print one,
Mm-hmm.
and mine never shut up either. And so when it was bedtime and I couldn't find a screwdriver to take the batteries out, I would lock it in the cabinet right on the other side of my sister's room. It was right on the other side of her wall. And I would lock it in this towel cabinet and just shut the bathroom door and walk away. And then, like, a few minutes later, we would hear her come out of her room and she would be freaked out. She's like, I don't know what this sound is. It's scaring me. What is this? And one day, my aunt was like going through the house trying to figure out what this sound was. And she discovered it was me locking my Furby in the towel cabinet and shoving it all the way in the back to where my sister could hear it in her room.
I would not be surprised if that was like Loki's first obsession about like possession, like
The
going
Furby.
out. Yeah, the Furbies. Yeah. um, like that makes so much sense to me, actually.
Yeah, that was a very, very Loki creation. Like, whoever invented this toy and designed it, Loki took part in it somewhere. It's a
Yeah.
very, Furby is a very chaotic creature.
Do. Um. Next question: are there any aspects or roles you've heard about him that don't resonate with you? Why or why not?
Um, I hear a lot of people tell me he's strict or he's very precise and wants things done a specific way. I don't get that from him at all. It's kind of do it on your own time, how the way you want to do it. I also don't get like the gender fluid side of him. I have never seen him be another gender. He has always been a man. I've seen him be animals, but he was still a man as an animal. Like that's probably the only thing that I see that isn't what everyone else sees. I've never seen him be in the shape of a woman.
I mean, it kind of makes sense with your dynamic, especially if he's trying to be like a very paternal figure to you. Then it makes sense that you don't
Yeah,
see other
that's
aspects.
that's the way I've always kind of saw it too, because I questioned like why don't I see this more? And I think it's because he's my dad, you know, like I that's the role he plays in my life. So it does make sense for him to just appear as a very paternal figure.
Yeah, whereas in my case, I see him more as a partner, and he's not trying to serve a specific purpose in like as like a parental figure, so there's no, for at least in my case, there's no need for him to be consistent because a little bit about me, I like everybody under the sun uh romantically, or as a potential romantic person. So in my eyes, they can be whatever they want to be that day and it wouldn't really matter. So I think that's why like I see that side a little bit more. Um, Also the fact that sometimes I can get very stuck in divine or like more masculine energy. I'm using heavy air quotes here. Uh, but more like kind of like I can get super like serious and like I have to do everything the exact way. And sometimes I feel like he'll appear as a woman sometimes to try and like shift that a little bit, if that makes sense. Kind of like a counterbalance.
Yeah, to help you balance your masculine and feminine energies out, so you're bringing both forward. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Loki. I don't know if I should say what I just heard. I heard, so it's not so much of a sausage fest.
Whoa. I'm gonna give him Skittles for that comment.
No.
That's giving him one of each color right now.
Okay. This is gonna get me flagged by YouTube. Okay, never mind. Uh, uh, uh. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on my how I see him. He does this thing where like he'll sometimes present with black hair, which is very interesting to me. Um, which is something that I've actually had like not issues with before, but I had to really like it brought up like anxiety in the past. Um, mostly because of like just like me trying to get comfortable about how he presents. Sometimes, and I think it ultimately was like a hey, long as the energy feels right, it doesn't really matter how I'm being seen, long as you don't feel threatened, you're not scared, stuff like that. Because I got for a while there, I got super paranoid about his uh Marvel's. Well, this is UPG, but in my own personal experience, Loki as a Marvel character and Loki Norse is different. Now, some people could have a different viewpoint on that, but for me, they're separate. And I kind of got like paranoid for a little bit about the Marvel Loki stepping into my space. I have worked on it since then, but in my own personal beliefs, like um, he was trying to get me familiar with the fact that sometimes um, address my uncomfortability with things I can't control. I think, and or a lesson about boundaries. So that was just another way he presented sometimes.
No, I've
Um,
heard of him doing that. I've personally never seen him with black hair, but no, I understand the concern that it could be like egregore energy. That makes sense too, but he's very good about letting you know the difference. And I also have like my own UPG with the Marvel stuff. In my practice, he does not like Marvel Loki at all. He has set a very firm boundary that they are not the same thing. They're very different. And he doesn't like any kind of Marvel memorabilia near his altars, anything like that. Which was kind of an interesting thing because my kids love Marvel. Like, they are all about superhero life. And, like, we're huge Iron Man fans personally. And he doesn't care about Iron Man or Spider Man, any of that. He doesn't even care, like, about Thor or how they portray Odin. None of that. Doesn't seem to bother him that much. It's just the Marvel Loki. Like, the only thing he has ever accepted is when my youngest was about 6 years old. He came back from his dad's house with a little figure. It was like a Christmas ornament, kind of, and it was of Marvel Loki. And he was like, "Can I give this to Loki, Mom?" And I was like, "Of course. Like, he's not going to tell you no."
yeah,
And so that's the only Marvel memorabilia that is anywhere near his altar. It's not even on it. It's hanging on a thumbtack beside it.
yeah. Now, this is to say that his interactions with um, me or Ren's experience could be completely different for you because I also feel like sometimes he picks and chooses per the practitioner.
Yeah, and that's just my personal experience with it. It could be totally, and I know people
Yeah.
that use like Funkos of the Marvel Loki as like an altar statue kind of, and they have a perfectly fine relationship. But it's just I think it's unique for everyone.
Yeah. Like, I feel like he'll do whatever you need at the moment, and it just depends on what you need. And if you feel like he prefers like spicy food as opposed to like the typical sweet, go ahead and do that. Or whatever you feel like it's right. It's like a own your agency type thing.
Yeah, and this I, I think he kind of enjoys like equally spicy to sweet. For Yule, what we've started doing for him is we actually make him a spiced chocolate with chili powder. That way he gets the spicy and the sweet.
Which is ironic because you're allergic to chocolate.
Yeah, yeah, I can't have chocolate. I'm totally allergic to it. So I have to wear like gloves. Sometimes I have to wear a mask if I'm melting chocolate. Um, but yeah, he still gets his candy. It hasn't stopped me.
All right. Well, let's start wrapping this up because I just noticed this is almost a this is going almost gone on for like about 50 minutes, and I'm sure we could rant and talk for about not rant per se, but like continue this discussion for like another hour if
Oh
given a
yeah, easy.
chance. But this was super fun, and I'd love to do another video with like just some other stories. But thank you so much for coming on here so we can have like this chat.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
All right, thank you. Bye, guys. Oh, if you like this discussion, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.